Okay, seeing as we've got a bit of sunshine today, I'm going to do this cabling for the solar panels. So this is what I'm going to be using, and so we're going to fix this down on here. This will go up holding the cables onto here, and then we'll just use some white conduit to run the cables along the front there and tidy it up a bit. Okay, so crack on, get that done. I'm going to have to disconnect the solar panels, of course, but they're fairly straightforward. Right, I'll see you in a bit when it's done. Okay, so that's that done. So nicely sealed, not too worried about what it looks like because it's up on the roof, nobody can see it. Running the two cables there in some white tubes, that'll disguise it when I've cleaned all that up and reattached it, just leaving the Sikaflex to dry at the moment and harden off. Do that to the rest of it tomorrow. And yeah, that looks a little bit neater than it does with red and black wires stuck up there, and hopefully it'll protect them as well. Right, another good job done. Okay, so the breakers arrived today. I'll try to do this in there, it's a bit easier to see, less wind. Right, so we're wired up now. So on the right hand side here, put it down there, that's it. Right, this is the RCD, this detects earth faults. So we're going to have mains cable coming in, connecting up to the top here. Coming out of the bottom, it now goes into one pole of the 3-position switch. So by putting it down, showing a yellow here, that is now on electric hookup. Green up there shows that everything is isolated. And then the other two connections down here will go to the inverter. So when I go up with the red, we're now on inverter. All of the output from this transfer switch is now going through into a 16 amp breaker, which is on, and the output of that will come out the bottom here. Live and neutral is a double pole breaker as required, and that will then feed into the sockets. So depending upon the position of this switch, it will determine whether we're using the electric hookup or whether we're using the inverter. Because of the switching through neutral, or sorry, switching through no connection, it means that the inverter and the electric hookup circuits can never meet, which is important. And then any earth leakage whatsoever is caught by the RCD here. So that's it, just need to put it in place now and then fit the wiring for the different devices, and then get the sockets sorted out. So crack on with that. Okay, so just a couple of little jobs today. Started raining again, of course, so I can't get underneath. So more hinges on this lift up panel at the back. That's the one with the water heater in it. And then this had a piece of hardboard on it, so I've got some 5mm ply that I have left lying around, and I've just painted it or stained it. I don't know why I did that, but I didn't need to do it. Same with the new woodwork that's been put down there. I thought, I'll feel better if it's all the same colour. So those are done, and this will just about get the back done, apart from the table. So I've measured up the table from somebody else who had one, so I've got the dimensions now. So the one I did the other day, I'm going to treat that as a practice piece because it's undersized. So the measurements that I got from that one were for one of the Rapido folding caravans, not from one of these motorhomes. So I've now found a motorhome that's exactly the same, and the owners were very kind enough to send me the photographs and the dimensions. So the next job is going to be a make a table and then redo the orange pigment into the epoxy and cover it. And I've got a brilliant idea of something else to add to it, but that will come in a later episode because I need to experiment with it first. But that's one for the next iteration, shall I say. So yeah, that's about done. Ready to get the fridge back in shortly. I'm just going to replace that gas hose, so that's going to be replaced. I've found the cabling behind it was used to charge the leisure battery, which was mounted in the engine compartment. So I've pulled all that out because I don't need that anymore, because obviously we've got the lithium battery sitting underneath the box on the left hand side there. So that's coming out, that's all come out. So all I need now is just to replace that gas hose, and that can all go back in, and then we're ready to tackle the control panel in a bit more detail. Right, crack on, see you soon. So that's all new rubber gas cable, sorry, gas line installed, replace the old stuff. And I'm just starting to replace some of the cables at the back there. Oops, wrong way around. So this is 12 volts that's going to run to the battery, and I've got another one to run there for 230 volts. I just need to go and get some 2.5mm wire for it. And I'm just using this 1.5 there for the 12 volt circuit, because there's carrying almost nothing, just a few amps, because we're changing all the lights to LEDs, of course. And then I've got to finish off in here. I've got a new piece of ceiling to put up, and I've also got an LED lamp that's going to go up in the bathroom there as well. So I'll be doing that one shortly. Just measure that up and cut it. And then my boards at the back are all nicely stained, ready to go back in. So again, that's another job. Put some hinges on the back there so they can all be lifted up. So a few more jobs to do, but we're getting there. So very slowly, but we're getting there. So of course, before putting the fridge back in, I need to test it, and that is a sight for sore eyes. We are now burning nice and blue. Started up after a couple of seconds as the gas made its way through the pipe work. So I'm just going to leave that on now, just to see and make sure it gets cold, and then we can reinstall it back in its place. So that's a good start. It's a 42-year-old fridge and it's still working. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so that's some polystyrene, extruded polystyrene up there. Okay, and let's do a piece at the end just to finish off. And then I've got a piece of 5mm ply that's going to go in here, but this needs to be treated because this is going to be wet in here. I'm not putting the cloth covering on this, but I'm going to put some plastic covering on it. But first of all, I need to treat the wood just to make sure that it's completely moisture proof, which I shall do next. And then I'm just going to drill a hole in it ready for the lamp. So just getting ready to fix these pieces in place. So although they'll all lift up, the cushions will come over that one there and that one there, but this one there is no cushion sitting in the middle for some reason, which may be a problem, may not be. Anyway, that's the one that's going to be lifting up, giving us access to that storage. And I just needed to raise the back by the same thickness as the panels, so I've just cut some strips which are currently gluing in place over there at the moment. So that'll give me the chance to put the hinges on, fix that job. So that one's ongoing. And then in the bathroom, I've just put all of the polystyrene up there now, and just sorting out that cable which is going to do the bathroom light. And then the panels I have treated with a wood preservative, and I'm actually going to give them a coat of epoxy before they go back up, so that they will be fully waterproof. So I'll do that one a little bit later in the garage. And yeah, that's getting a bit closer to being finished in there now. And then as you can see, we have sunshine, everything's drying out nicely, so we're going to get the heater installed this weekend. So I've got some ramps, get the van up on ramps, get underneath it and install that. So going to start getting that ready now. So I'll see you shortly. Well, started off today with the intention of getting underneath and installing the diesel heater. However, there is absolutely no way underneath this van that is going to fit. There's so many cross members that if I mounted it up close to the floor, then it would be blocking off the air inlets and outlets. And I can't even mount it on its side, and it's just not deep enough. So unfortunately, it's going to have to go in the rear compartment. hey ho, bit of a change of plan. But whilst it's up here, I'm going to run all the electrics. So just getting underneath at the moment and getting some cables routed. And these are going to go underneath. So just getting these cables routed, they're going underneath. And you can see there just sorting out, that's the 12 volt supply over to the battery and the 230 volts to the inverter. So I'll get those installed. Got my little my step bit, which will drill holes through the side members so I can thread my insulation, what do they call it, corrugated conduit, which will go and protect the cables and then get that all zip tied up. Just got to be careful going around the exhaust, keep it away from the exhaust heat. But yeah, definitely disappointing about the diesel heater, because that was intended to go underneath, but now I've got it up on the ramps, just not enough room underneath for it, so I have to rethink that one shortly. Okay, I'll be back soon as I've got this cabling done. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this breaker box, because there is a little confusion around the internet at the moment, and it all involves putting what are called center tapped inverters into electrical systems. And one of the requirements is that you should have a RCD, an earth breaker, in the inverter circuit. However, if you have a center tapped inverter, that doesn't work because you don't create the proper circuit. So the idea is that you actually earth out the neutral and the earth. And the problem with that is that potentially your vehicle chassis becomes live. And so the idea is that you then have another residual circuit breaker in place, which then detects that live circuit. And if a fault occurs, it will then trigger. The alternative, which is the one that I'm following, is that you don't have a residual circuit breaker on there, but you ensure that all of your devices are double insulated. Because we've got a relatively low output inverter, the maximum we're ever going to put onto it is, for example, a hairdryer, which doesn't have an earth connection anyway. It's just a plastic body and it's double insulated. So as long as you ensure that the devices that you use inside the van are double insulated, then you can connect your inverter to the, I can connect the inverter to my breaker panel without an RCD. And that's what I'm doing here. I don't suggest you do the same. It's just my choice, because I'm going to be making sure that all of my devices are double insulated. You can't put a metal device, because that has potentially a live metal surface on it, into this system. And so all of my sockets will be labelled double insulated devices only. But I know that it's my van, I know what I'm going to be doing, so that's going to be the way I'm going to implement it. But if you can, then buy something like a Victron Multiplus or one of the high-end Renergy inverters, which will handle this situation for you. But if you're unsure, get an electrician, because I can't give you any advice whatsoever on electricity. But I'm just saying this is what I'm doing anyway. Okay, on to the next job. So just working on bringing some cables up through the floor now for the inverter and for the 12 volts. I just took the opportunity of installing another fail-safe onto the battery. So although the battery has a BMS, which should cut down any chances of excess voltage, excess current, excess temperature, I'm always a believer in putting some extra protection on. So this is a 250 amp fuse, which will then protect the entire system. And they come in packs of 5. So I'll put up a little sticky up on the side here and keep some spare fuses in here, so they're always accessible. And then I'm also going to put some protection over this terminal, because obviously that's 12 volts live. So yeah, that's another level of protection in here. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the wiring. So I just finished off the electrics in here. So I've now connected the plug, which will go into the inverter, take the 230 volts across to the other side. I'm just starting to connect the 12 volts, so it's going through a breaker. That's going to the other side as well. There's my jumper going down to the positive bus bar, the 12 volt bus bar. And that's my negative, just waiting to heat shrink the cables on that. So that's that side all done. So I can finish those off and just tidy everything up and button it up, and then start testing. And then on the other side, I found a place for my heater. So we couldn't fit it underneath, so I've got a compartment here that was used to store window blinds. However, this is going to work quite nicely. There's plenty of airflow around it. I can take the air outlet here and bring it out onto the footwell underneath the bed or underneath the seats. The air inlet is going to come through on this side, which is that compartment there. So that's going to bring in the air from the van, and I can put a diverter valve on as well, so I can take some of the air out as needed. So that's that. I've got to just make sure that I can go through the floor here. I think I'm fairly clear. I did check it earlier on, just to make sure that we have got some clearance for the exhaust pipe and the inlet. So that, I think, will be quite nice. So the fuel will continue to go underneath, as we'd hoped for, and it just comes up under the base of the heater. And there you can see that's the fuel inlet, and then one of these is exhaust and one of these is fresh air. Not sure which way around it is at the moment. And that will go down there with a base plate that they supply, which is one of those. But a lot of people have told me that we should put, I forget what the name of it is now. Essentially, it's a metal piece about 30 mils deep, which just keeps a little bit more airflow around the base of the heater, just to stop it from causing any problems on wooden floors. So we'll sort that out as well. I will take up this vinyl, which is down here at the moment, because I certainly don't want anything hot near the vinyl. So we'll take that out and just make sure it's a metal plate down onto the wooden floor. So that's the next job, and just work out where all of the pipes are going to go, and that gives us quite a amount of options then for where we're going to route the air to. So that's good. Right, the next job is get underneath and just make sure that we've buttoned everything up. Well, the point of no return. So I've measured underneath, and I've put a pilot hole down there. Can't really see it, but there is one just here. There we go. And that's perfect underneath, and it'll mean that the exhaust for the heater will actually come out alongside the exhaust of the vehicle, and the fresh air inlet will come from space a long way away from it, so that's good. So yeah, now I've got to do is enlarge the holes down at the bottom in the right place, and that's fine. So I've got a wooden floor, as you can see how deep it is. So I've kept anything hot as far away from that as possible. And the insulation, which is this horrible fiberglass stuff, I'm going to make sure is all pushed well away and removed it from the hole, but also push the rest of it far enough away so it's not going to be anywhere near any of the pipe work. And then I think what I'm going to do is take a baked bean tin, cut a metal shroud from it, and then put that down to protect the van. And then I'm going to use the metal plate that it comes with, and that should then provide the protection. So the metal can, the bit of baked bean tin, will provide enough heat to resistance against the wood, keep all the fiberglass from ever coming back in touch with it, and then also it'll just maintain a bit of airflow around the exhaust pipe as well. So next thing to do is start getting the holes into the bottom and cutting up my baked bean tin. So I shall be back shortly. So my wife has reliably informed me that we don't have any old baked bean tins around, or any tins at all in fact. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit until I can get those. In the meantime, I have been removing the vinyl flooring from underneath the plate. However, you may remember from an earlier episode, if you've been watching, I had intended to remove all of the vinyl flooring in order to put some new stuff down. However, as you can see, I didn't realise it's actually all been glued down, and it literally comes off in tiny little pieces. So therefore, I'm probably going to leave the existing vinyl flooring down when I put the new vinyl flooring on top. I don't see any other way of doing it, because if that's the way it's stuck down, and it is really sticky, because I've got to remove all of this white stuff before I put the plate down, just in case it heats up and smells. So yeah, we're going to have to rethink the flooring side of it. But I have got the new flooring already, but I'm not going to take up this old stuff if that's the way it's going to come up. Anyway, waiting for tins to finish this off, and in that case I'll probably load this episode up, and there'll be another one shortly showing me fitting the diesel heater in place. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you all again soon, and if you've got any comments, just leave them in the messages below, and I'll definitely respond to them, because this is proving to be a lot of fun. All right, take care. Bye for now.